Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to kneel down and we're going to do a little bit of warming up for wrists, elbows and shoulders. So nice easy drill I like to work with here is to go on all fours, get your toes digging into the floor underneath, and we'll spread your fingers out and we'll plant onto the floor. So that's our first position. We'll start by warming up the wrists and then we'll work up the arm and include the elbows and the shoulders. Nice and gently we're going to rock forward and back. Doesn't have to be too fast. We just want to bring the shoulders far enough forward that you feel a little stretch onto the wrists, and then we're back again. And an important detail is that when you're doing this, we want your biceps to look forward. So if your shoulders are internally rotated, your biceps will be looking towards each other, but we want your biceps to be looking forward. So that means you're externally rotating the shoulder joint, and you'll feel a little bit more stable in that area. Nice easy rock back and forward. You just go far enough forward that you feel that little bit of a stretch into the wrists. Let's stay at the front now, so you bring your shoulders forward, you feel that little bit of stress, you stay there. We can stay at the front and we'll slowly move left and right to create little micro movements in the wrists. If your wrists are tight and jammed up, you probably won't get too far forward. But it's all about how far you can go. Don't worry about being too aggressive with that sort of stretch or position. And when you finish that, we're going to come back, we're going to turn your hands so that the fingertips are pointing outwards. And we're going to leave a little bit of space between the hands. And what we'll do next is we make sure again biceps are looking forward, and then we shift the weight from one side gradually to the other. Don't be in too much of a hurry here, take your time. You might feel like your palms are peeling up a bit off the floor too, that's absolutely fine. And as I said, we're just warming up, so don't be too cruel to yourself here. If you've been wrist locked a lot over the last while, it can be not so fun. Nice simple left and right movement, and then we're going to change our hand position again. So we're going to flip the palms backwards. Now, the more flexible you are here, the more space you'll be able to have between your fingertips and your knees. If you're very tight and you find it very difficult, bring the fingertips a bit closer to the knees. So what we do now is we get the hands flat, we spread the fingers, and we send the hips back. Your palms will peel off the floor a little bit, and that's absolutely fine. Think about pushing your fingertips into the mat, and we can very gently bend one elbow straight and the other, bend one elbow straight and the other. So almost like a little slow motion marching motion with the elbows. Pushing one palm to the ground, raising the other, pushing the other one to the ground, raising the other. If you're lucky enough like me to have broken a few fingers over the years, or wrecked a few ligaments in your hands, these are an essential part of your warm-up before you get on the mat, particularly if you train a lot in the gi. And once we finish that, we'll relax, we'll shake the hands out, we can sit up, we can sit on your heels, or if that's not so comfortable, we can come up nice and tall. We'll just get the fingers and the wrists moving around a little bit. So they can be quite intense, those stretches, particularly if you carry a lot of tightness in those areas. But anytime you train before Jiu-Jitsu, I usually kind of recommend guys to get on those drills and do them myself, particularly as I do most of my training wearing the gi, so you're using those muscles, the soft tissue in the hands and the wrists a whole lot. The next drill is going to work the wrists. It's also going to include the elbows a little bit, so it'll be the same position, all fours. The amount of space I want between your wrist and your knee should be enough that your elbow can hit the floor pretty close to your knee. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to spread the fingers. Again, biceps are looking forward. I'm going to push my elbows wide, and I'm going to try to drive my elbows a little forward so they're not coming back like this. I want to drive them wide and forward. I can already feel stress in the wrists. You may not get very low here. And once you feel you're at your limit, what we're going to do with the elbow now is we're going to sweep the elbow backwards, close to the floor, and then the elbow is going to be close. It's going to hit the floor, but it's going to be close to your knees. That's the end range of that movement. So we come back up to where we started. We bring in your weight forward. We push your elbows wide and forward at the same time, and we keep that push as we lower down, and you'll feel where your limit is. And when you feel that limit, you sweep slowly back. Elbows are on the ground close to your knees, and we come back up. We'll keep it slow for maybe 4 more reps. Slow and controlled and steady. So it's like when we do controlled articular rotations. In the last session we did them on the hip, where we move slow and controlled through the full range of motion of that joint. We're doing something similar here with the wrists, and your elbows will feel that little bit of stress. Very common for jiu-jitsu guys to have elbow tendon issues. A lot of it can be related to poor mobility in the shoulders. You can break your arm, you can get those repetitive stress injuries. There's lots of causes. When you do a lot of heavy gripping work, wearing the gi, it can cause some issues around there too. But this is again is a great warm-up drill for those areas. And once you finish that, we'll spend a few seconds shaking out the wrists, shaking out the hands, loosening out the shoulders. Hopefully things are feeling okay here. Next up we're going to include the shoulders and the upper back, the thoracic spine, the middle of your spine, the whole lot. So we're going to go with some cat-cow drills. Nice easy yoga position. Untuck your toes, spread the fingers again, and again focus biceps facing forward, okay? So that means your shoulders are active here. So what we'll do is we'll inhale as we arch your back. Think about flaring your ribs, and we're looking slightly straight ahead. So we have a big deep inhale, and we're also pulling your hips back, like we're trying to point your butt up in the air. And then as you exhale, what we'll do is we'll slowly tuck your hips in, we'll lift your belly, we'll push the floor down, and we'll look towards your belly button. So we inhale nice and slow here. And then we exhale nice and slow. The movement is slow and stable. We're trying to have control over our midsection. We're slowly loosening out all those tight areas through the midsection. We're moving our core area, our spine, piece by piece. We're not in too much of a hurry here. One or two more. So today's workout is not specifically going to be about too much stretching. We're going to do some strengthening work for the shoulders and the upper back. But I do like to include some stuff, some yoga elements, particularly in our warm-ups to increase our movement capacity. So this one's quite a yoga position, child's pose. We're going to go wide knees, feet together in the middle. And what we'll do is we'll send the hips back a little bit. Doesn't have to be too far. We'll walk the hands just to the sides of your mat. We'll walk the hands forward, really long, drop your forehead to the ground. So here your elbows are locked out, they're not hitting the floor. Spread the fingers and think about really lengthening the arms, lengthening the spine. We'll hang out here for a few deep breaths. Now while we're here, we can protract and retract the shoulder blades. So what that means is we can wrap the shoulders around your ears. So we're really like almost pulling your arms out of their sockets. And then slowly retract them so that just lessens a little bit. You bring your neck, you make your neck a little bit longer then. So we're sliding the shoulder capsules forward so they're close to your ears, and then we're gently bringing them back a little bit. Okay, lift up the hips a little bit. And what we'll do now is we're going to take your right arm, we're going to pop it underneath your left armpit, we're going to thread it through, we're going to turn your head sideways, and we'll drop the side of your head to the floor. Now this one you might need to have your hips a little bit further forward if you're very tight there. But if you've got that bit of mobility, you'll be able to sit the hips back again. So we'll keep you in that position, but while you're there, what we're looking to do is we're looking to have two straight elbows. So we have a nice little twist into the thoracic spine. Deep breaths. We're going to very slowly lift you back up out of there, and we're going to switch positions, switch sides, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We thread one arm through, we turn, we look to that hand, and we drop the side of the top of your head to the floor. And stay here, take a few deep breaths. You might feel a nice stretch across the upper back if you're carrying a lot of tightness and tension there. Okay, we're going to go back to the other side now. We're going to add a little bit of movement into that drill, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to be threaded through here. We're going to slowly lift back up, and then this elbow is going to come up, and we're going to reach back and almost open our chest to look to the ceiling, okay? So we'll push all the way through, as far through as we can go. The side of your head can get right to the floor, and then with control we'll pull that elbow back out, and we'll open up, and we're opening our chest to the ceiling. We're going to go with 3 more. We're keeping control in our movement. You'll find your hips are moving forward and back as well, and that's absolutely no problem at all. Warming up the hips a little bit too. Today's workout will be giving you some strength exercises to pinpoint the weaker parts of your shoulders. You can relax here now, that's cool. We're going to be doing that exercise on the other side. And the exercises we're doing, you'll be able to include them in your warm-ups before you train Jiu-Jitsu, or in your warm-ups before you lift weights. When you're ready, we're going to thread your arm underneath the armpit, find that twist position, and then we'll gently pull that elbow out, and we'll turn, and we'll open the chest to the ceiling. It's okay for the arm to go slightly back there as well, that's not a problem. Thread the arm through, and back out. We've got 3 more to go. Nice steady pace. Just getting your spine, particularly the upper area of your spine, your thoracic spine, plays a big role in the health of your shoulders. And today's workout is all about shoulders and upper body. Okay, so relax, we can loosen out the shoulders from there. If you're able to sit on your feet, we can do that. If this is a bit inaccessible, if your knees, your ankles giving you some trouble, we can do these next exercises just sitting up on your knees. What we're going to do is we're going to do a controlled articular rotation of the shoulder. So let's say we put the right arm straight in front. I like to put the left hand here in the center of the chest, and this is to give you a little bit of feedback as to how much you're going to be rotating in your spine. We don't want a whole lot of rotation here. So this arm is strong and active, this long straight arm. Active and strong, not relaxed. Thumb pointed to the ceiling. And what we're going to do is very slowly, with control, I'm going to bring that arm to the sky. Fingertips are pointing up. When I reach the top position, what I'm going to do with the palm is I'm going to rotate with control so that the palm is facing outwards. That's as much as I can rotate. And now I'm going to push as far back as I can. Now I don't have fantastic mobility, so as you can see, it's going to go out wide. That's not a problem, as long as you can feel what's going on here. And I'm not letting my body follow the movement. At this point now, the thumb is pointing down, okay? And I'm going to keep rotating the shoulder joint so that when it comes to my hip, I've actually got the back of my hand facing my hip, okay? And I'm at the bottom position now, so I'll stop. Again, I try to keep my chest facing forward. We're going to do that in reverse. So I'm going to push as far back as I can, and I have a very slow twist going on with my shoulder. I'm reaching as far back as I can. I'm trying not to let my chest turn, and I'm exploring the limit of my range of motion here. At this point now, I'm trying to bring the fingertips to the ceiling, and I'm returning back to the start position, as in my palm is facing in towards the body rather than away from the body, and then I get to the front. Okay, so we're going to do 1 more rep like that. Control is key here rather than swinging the arm. Chest facing the front, we slowly bring the arm up. At the top, we turn the palm with control and really twist so you feel that activation in the shoulder, and we continue on our path of pushing back. We continue to twist as well, so at some point your thumb will be pointing down at the floor and it will continue to twist, so then the thumb will be pointing behind you and we'll be getting the back of your hand facing the hip. We'll do that in reverse. Last time we push back, it's the same line of movement. Super steady. We're never in a rush here. We don't want to rotate our core, our spine. We have to make your shoulder take ownership of that range of movement. Again, great way to wake up some of those intricate muscles that are responsible for stable shoulders. We can relax, see how that feels. Okay? So we're going to do 2 on the other side, and we're in absolutely no hurry here. We get your arm very long, thumbs up. We've got strong engaged shoulders here. If you've got really long arms and you're finding that floor is kind of limiting your range, we can just pop up onto your knee. So when you're ready, free hand sits in front of the chest and we slowly reach up to the sky. So with Jiu-Jitsu guys, remember at the top we turn the palm. With Jiu-Jitsu guys, shoulder issues are very common because we use our upper body so much during the sport, and everything is in front of us during the sport. So your opponent is, well, you'd hope they're in front of you, because if they're not, they're in a position to do some damage, choke you. But what we do is we tend to be rounded in our shoulders, we tend to protract our shoulders. So we always become very tight and limited in our range of movement, and shoulder injuries happen a lot because of those imbalances. I tore that rotator cuff about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Yeah, it's almost 2 years ago now. And you know, it's not a nice feeling, but I could tell you 20 or 30 guys I know in the sport that have had the exact same injury. So taking care of the shoulders as you get a little bit older, or you've been training a little bit longer, becomes a lot more important. Nice control, nice and steady. We're almost there, we're pushing far back. You can also do these standing beside a wall to limit your range of movement. And it's fairly common to hear a few little clicks and cracks. As long as they're pain-free, that's not a problem. Once we've completed our 2 reps there, we can let the shoulders just have a little bit of a break. And I'm going to talk you through the next exercise while we're doing that. So we'll be doing a straight arm push-up or a scapular push-up. These are a staple of any of my upper body warm-ups. What we're doing is when we're doing our push-up, we're not bending the elbows at all. We're keeping the elbows long, but we're going to retract and protract the shoulder joint. And training strength and stability in those areas is vital, because the muscles that are responsible for those tend to play a big role in how stable your rotator cuff remains when you're training in sport situations like Jiu-Jitsu. So if they're weak, you tend to be more liable to pick up injuries. So what we're going to do is we're going to be anchored to the floor. I'll show you from the front here first of all. Spreading the fingers. We don't really want to bend the elbows. A little is fine, but very little is all we're going to allow ourselves. Like I said earlier, we follow this principle throughout. I want your biceps to look forward. And when we do our push-up, it's very important that we don't end up doing this. We don't end up using our hips and our pelvis to do the movement, okay? Or nodding the head and using the neck movement at the cervical spine. So what I want you to imagine is that you've got a packed chin, you've got a rod right through the spine from the head right down to the hips, and we're going to try to engage everything and keep it still, okay? So glue the hands to the floor, tuck your tailbone in, and we've got a nice rounded upper back, and we want to keep that core engaged and locked still. So what I do is I retract my shoulder blades. My chest will drop a little, but my hips don't drop, my chin doesn't drop, and then I push the floor. And I try to get that rounded sensation, that little stretch across the upper back. So the chest sinks, and I'm trying to keep my eyes fixed in one position. We're going to work slowly through 15 reps. We retract the shoulders and we protract the shoulders. We keep working along those lines. Remove this so we can see a little bit of work going on in the shoulder blades. All about retracting and protracting. Keep working until we've completed our 15. But what we don't want is we don't want the shoulders to glide forward towards your ears. Okay? So retract and protract. Tailbone tucked in, eyes fixed on one position, and that stops you nodding with your head. A big mistake I see is people nodding their head trying to complete the movement. We've got to keep it engaged and steady. Okay, so once we've done that, we'll catch the breath there for a moment, and we're going to follow that one up with notes. We're going to follow that up with a light stretch, a scorpion stretch, and then we'll come back and we'll do one more set on those. So our scorpion stretch, we're going to lie on our side here. We're going to put one arm out to the side. Again, I don't mind if the hand is a little bit back here as well, it's not a problem, but I don't want the shoulder to roll forward into the ear or into the jaw. So we keep the shoulder pulled away, okay? The leg that's close to that arm, this leg for me is the right leg, I'm going to step over it, okay? And I'm going to keep my other hand here close to my body to push the floor. When I push the floor, I can feel a stretch on this side, pec, shoulder. And if that arm is further forward, I'll feel it even more. We'll take a few deep breaths here. I can let the side of my head rest to the floor. Take a few deep breaths. I'm pushing the floor with my bent arm, driving into the floor. Breathe nice and deep. Scorpion's a nice little pec opener. If you do have a lot of tightness, the pecs and the shoulders. And as I said, be conscious not to let that shoulder drive upwards towards the ear. Gently let the legs straighten out again so they're parallel. And we're going to switch arms. We'll pop our arm out to the side, make sure the shoulder is tucked a little bit back away from the ear. This opposite hand comes in close to the body, and I step back, and when I push the floor here, I'll feel that stretch on the pec on the opposite side. We'll have a couple of deep breaths here, just as a little hip opener, or a little shoulder opener. And we'll come back in. Okay, we're going to do one more set, scapular push-ups. Usually I like anywhere between 10 and 20 reps on these. If you're just beginning on them, you're getting used to them, take your time, 10 reps is probably going to be fine. If you become a bit more seasoned at them, you'll be able to handle a bit more. But control is key, not speed. Ready when you are, we go for a 10. Engage, biceps look forward. So we always want the biceps and the eye of the elbow here glazing forward, not gazing at each other. Tuck your tailbone in and take your time. So we have that little sink in the chest, and then we have that push. We have that little sink, pull the shoulder blades to meet each other around your spine, and that push. If you struggle here, you can do these on your knees, okay? No problem. Just focus on having a lot of weight on your hands, not putting all the weight back on your feet and your hips. And control is key. Get good at being stable and owning the movement, not cheating and bluffing your way through. Awesome. So once they're done, we can relax, move the shoulders around a little, see if the elbows are feeling okay. And as I said, they'll be a gold standard for your warm-up. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of press movements next. 2 exercises, and we're going to complete 2 sets of each. We'll alternate between the 2. Watch the first one, and then we'll join in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be in the prone position, belly down. I'm going to put my toes in the floor. I like to keep my kneecaps slightly off the floor here, so that makes my hips become active. This can protect my back. When you do this movement, we will be lifting a little, but we don't want to bend your head back. So if you feel a fold of skin developing on the back of the neck like this, that means you're lifting your head too far back. We can lift the chest a little, but we don't want to fall back because that puts a lot of pressure on that cervical spine. So we can use our glutes and our low back, no problem. Here's what we're going to do. We have a W position here, thumbs towards the sky, and then we have a Y position, thumbs towards the sky. Okay? And we're going to alternate between the 2 for 10 controlled reps. While we're doing it, like I said, no looking forward. We can lift up, but we want to look down. We want strong glutes. If your low back gives you any trouble, squeeze your butt and drop your head a little closer to the floor, and that should protect, okay? Ready to rumble when you are. We've got our W. Keep the arms away from the floor. Retract the elbows, and then with control, slide forward to your Y, hold, and then retract. Long, strong, active legs. Tension and tightness throughout the body. Everything's active and strong, engaged. And the arms are not dropping to the floor. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the quads, protect that low back. Okay, rest and recover. We'll give your shoulders 20-30 seconds to recover before we do the next exercise. While you're recovering, I'll demonstrate. We're going to do a yoga push-up. A lot of you guys will know it already. I'm going to go through the technique nonetheless. So I'm going to be in a regular push-up position. Again, tailbone tucked in, and I'll drive the elbows in and I'll come down to the floor, and then I'll push. And when I push, I keep my hands and feet where they are, and I push back to a down dog. It's okay to keep it bending your knees if you're not feeling very flexible, but what we're looking to do is get your chest as close to your quads as we can, and the hips up. And then we're going to return back to this plank, and we're going to go again, okay? So, when you're ready, we're going with 10 reps. Lose the footwear, get more grip. If you have shoulder issues, just bend the elbows to 90 degrees and then push back. Sometimes, if we have poor function and range of motion in there, we can get that what's called the glenohumeral glide, where once the elbow goes behind the body, the shoulder naturally overcompensates by shifting forward to your ear. And that can aggravate the tightness and internal rotation you may have in your shoulder. So, like I said, if you focus on keeping your shoulders away from your ears and stop at around 90 degrees, not letting the shoulder push up to the ear. That can really help to stop aggravating that issue through overcompensation. So once you finish 10 reps on that yoga push-up, again, 20-30 seconds to recover. And we're going to complete one more set of each. We're going to do the Y to the W, and then we do the yoga push-up again. When we do the Y to the W, focus on slight outward turn. So they don't have to be forearms parallel. Slight outward turn, and we're going Y. So not straight ahead here, like this. The thumbs are rolled upwards for a reason. They're pointing at the sky because that externally rotates your shoulders, which is what we want. And we pull the elbows like we're almost trying to drive them to the hips and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Let's try 10 reps, okay? Belly down, legs in the floor, push the toes in the ground, make your W, pull the shoulder blades back, and be active and strong, push forward into your Y. Think about strong butt, strong glutes. Thumbs to the ceiling, remember? We're trying to roll them almost outwards so that we're externally rotating in the shoulders. Once we finish the 10, take 20-30 seconds to let the shoulders recover a little bit, because tired shoulders will make that technique of the next exercise suffer a little bit. Because we're doing exercises back to back that are all hitting similar areas, we'll recover a little bit in between rather than just gunning it through. This is more about strength and structure than it is about cardio or working at a high pace. So when you're ready, we're going to do that yoga push-up one more set, and we're going to hit 10 reps. Again, biceps looking forward, tuck the tailbone in, and like I said, we can stop at 90 if it suits your shoulders better. We can push and we can drive back. Bring yourself forward, drop into your push-up, elbows in, lift, and drive back. Keeping your elbows narrow to the body can be a bit more accessible, a bit more shoulder friendly for those of you that have had issues with your shoulders. Okay, hopefully we're feeling good. We'll rest and recover. We're going to move on to the next pair of exercises. So we're going to do prone backburns, again another exercise where we're lying on the floor. When you're performing these sequences, you don't have to do all of these, but adding in one or two into your warm-ups can really be a shoulder saver. So, same position, I'm going to be prone, I'm going to have my toes on the floor, I'm going to keep my legs nice and strong and active, and the arms are going to be moved like they were in the YW press, but we're going to use a bit of rotation in the shoulder this time. So, nice steady position, I'll bring the arms out to that Y, slowly I'm going to bring them back. Same rule applies with your neck, don't fold the skin on the neck. So we slowly reach far back, and what we do is we reach up, not to your butt, but into the middle, into the center of your back, like handcuffs, and we can make a little squeeze, pull the shoulders back, and then we're going to slowly reach as far out as we can, high away from the floor. We'll twist, reach forward, bring your hands to the back of your head. Prisoner position, elbows high from the floor. We reach nice and long, super strong. Let's try 5 reps, but with slow, controlled movement. We reach for the middle back, pinch the handcuffs back, reach wide, keep it slow. Prisoner position again, elbows are nowhere near the floor. So we're working that upper back. Key here is not to use speed or power. We want tension, control, and ownership of that movement. And once you finish 5, we'll come up and we'll have that short little break again, okay? I'm going to make it challenging by combining it with a push-up movement. The push-up movement we're going to do is going to have 2 qualities to it. A 5-second eccentric contraction, so that's the lowering down. Then a 5-second isometric, where we stay still. And then we push, and we'll complete 5 reps, okay? So we're going to count 5 seconds on the way down. Once we get to roughly 90 degrees in the elbow, we stay still for 5. Again, we don't want your shoulders to glide forward. We're going to keep them pinned in position, and then we're going to push, okay? Ready when you are? Biceps looking forward, tuck the tailbone in. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push. One more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Push. Okay. Rest and recover. We'll be doing one more set on each of those. So your eccentric contraction, for those of you that don't know, is when we lower with control and we're resisting against the weight. Your isometric is when we're contracted but we're holding. These are positions that are phenomenal for developing force, athletic potential, improving tissue quality. So for people in a sport that is rife with injuries and sore spots, really gold dust. When you're at home like you are during this pandemic and you don't have a lot of equipment, you don't have a lot of weights to train, using eccentrics and isometrics, lifesaver, okay? So we're going to do one more set of each. Let's do 5 reps slowly on our Blackburns, and then we'll do 5 reps on those intra-set tempo changes on the push-ups, okay? So, hit the floor, dig the toes on the floor, chin tucked, neck is a nice healthy position, reach the arms long, and we'll slowly bring them back. We rotate the shoulders. You might feel some griminess in the shoulders when you're doing those twists. Pinch your handcuffs back. And we slowly reach all the way around. Prisoner position. Elbows high from the floor. Keep the legs active. Don't let those knees relax to the floor. Keep stable and steady. That whole body is working. Pinch the handcuffs back. We're slow and steady. We're right around to the front. Elbows are high. If you get very good at these, you want to make them a bit more challenging. What you can do is leave a couple of small dumbbells or shoes on the floor beside you and challenge yourself to lift your arms above them on the way around, adding the range of motion. We'll go for one more rep, nice and steady. Reaching out super long. Pinch and relax. Shake them out. You got 20-30 seconds before we hit those push-ups. Hopefully the shoulders are all feeling okay. And as I was saying there, when you're doing that movement, you'll notice that you have to rotate the shoulder through the range of movement. And if you do have issues in your shoulders, you'll hear some sounds. It'll feel a bit grimy at certain points. That's why we take our time. We're nice and controlled. We build up your strength in those end ranges of motion. So it's not just about stretching things out and making them more flexible. Passive stretching like that makes things, it gives them the ability to move better while they're passive. But when we do jiu-jitsu, these are never passive. They're active, they're active, they're active. So that's why we need to build that end range with active end range strength. So that's why these exercises are gold dust for an athlete that uses their upper body a whole lot. Push-ups, last set, we're going to go 5 reps, 5-second eccentric, 5-second isometric, okay? Spread the fingers, really press the fingertips on the ground, biceps look to the front, tuck the tailbone in, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go one more rep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Push. Okay, lovely. So anyone who bought the bodyweight strength program that I released recently, if you're up to the third phase of it, you'll probably be fairly used to some of that stuff. What we've got in those is we've got sets where you're combining the eccentrics, the isometrics, and the concentrics. Lots of different types of muscle contraction. Like I said, it's a fantastic way of making an exercise nice and tough if you're lacking some weight and so on. So we're just going to stretch out a little bit now to finish off our workout and relax the body. It's hard to breathe and talk and train at the same time. So we're in our hero's position, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring one hand just behind us, nice and simple. The opposite hand now will come to the outside of the leg, the outside of the hip, and create a little pull here just to add to your twist. So we pull and we'll take a few big deep breaths. When you're ready, we go the other way. So one hand directly behind you, really long straight arm. The opposite hand pulls the outside of the legs and the hips, and breathe. Okay, one more we go for. Seated position, hands close to the hips. Let's try to have the fingertips pointing forward towards the feet. We bring the hands in a little bit so they're not too wide, and we're going to lift the hips and we're going to bring them forward. Get a little bend in the elbows and sit your hips on the floor and drive your elbows towards each other. Don't let them flare wide. Okay? If you feel like you're able to move your hips even further away, we can do that. We let your chin sink close to your chest initially. Take a couple of deep breaths. And we can also very gently sway your weight from one side to the other, so you'll feel a nice little stretch. Shoulders, the biceps. Relax a little. Nice big chest now. Chin is just slightly above it. Don't rest your chin on your chest. You don't need to throw your head backwards either. Your wrists might be feeling the benefit of that stretch. We'll use your feet now to push you back, and we can relax. Hopefully we feel okay after that. So a lot of those exercises there will come in useful for warm-ups, like I said, before Jiu-Jitsu, before you do your strength and conditioning workouts, or you can perform that whole sequence once or twice a week as a shoulder care workout to keep these healthy. Like I said, in Jiu-Jitsu they take a bit of a beating. The sport is quite tough on them. Very common for you to pick up injuries at some point the longer you're at it. So it's very important to give them a little bit of TLC. Okay, thanks for joining in, guys. See you soon.